Moo.
What? What do you want? We're going to start in a few minutes.
I just want to be sure you know what you're getting into.
What do you mean? I'm the one who signed the contract, didn't I? You didn't seem to hesitate too much when they agreed to your salary.
I'm not the focus of this documentary, you are. And I just wouldn't want everyone I know standing in front of a camera and talking about me.
So you're not going to do it? Is that what this is all about?
I'm not the problem, you are. I just thought there were certain aspects of your life you wouldn't want everyone knowing.
Listen, I've already been assured by the filmmakers that this is going to be handled like a work of art. They say everything that I'll do will be cinema history.
Sounds like a line to me.
You're the one who encouraged this kind of thing in the first place, buddy. You said this was just what I needed to take me straight over the top. And now you change your mind? Wait a minute. God, I know what this is. You're still afraid of my success. I'm just like an appliance to you. An appliance you never use. But the minute somebody tries to take it away, you sure miss it.
Will you stop with the appliance lecture?
It's true.
Listen, I'm not going to stand here and talk to a girl who's convinced that I think of her as a toaster.
Just one more try. Give it a chance. Starts like fascination, ends up like betrayal. Maybe someday we can go hiding from this world. Maybe I'll never get over the changing style, but I wanna lock you up and say you're mine. Don't wanna lose you or say goodbye. I'm the guilty party and I want my slice, but I know you got me and I'm in a great fight. They can't touch me now.
I'm Natalie, and I'm a fashion model, and I've had some minor experience in acting. Why the filmmakers chose me to do this documentary, I can't say. Wait, it's not that I can't say the reason. I don't know the reason. It's not like I had to sleep with somebody to do this, or something dirty. Wait, can we do this over?
Natalie and I, we go back a long way. We met in prison. You see, models are tough. They have to be. Anyway, most of them have been in the big house for one thing or another. It's what they call paying your dues in modeling, I guess. You can't be soft in this profession, I'm telling you. There are model gangs. You belong or you pay for the protection. Natalie and I, we learned the ropes early on. See, when your bed's a bunch of 2x4s held together by crazy glue and you're towards the coffee can, all you've got is time. Am I shocking you? Okay, let's see. How do we become friends? Oh, yeah. I remember that perfectly. Natalie gave me some gum, and it tasted like the past. I don't mean the gum was old or anything. It was just weird. I started remembering things like Christmas and grade school and things like that. It was really weird. I think Natalie can be an even bigger success if she had a car. Yeah, what she needs is a car. Wonder what I'd look like bald.
We're going to concentrate mostly on my career and professional life, not my family life. Actually, my parents did want to be on the show, but there was an unfortunate accident right before the interview started. You see, my dad's a truck driver, and just last week, when he was coming back from hauling a load, a cow walked out in front of his truck and refused to move. Well, Dad was pretty pissed. So Dad got down from the cab onto the ground and shattered his heels. He was discovered by a group of guys riding choppers on the same road. We wondered how they knew where to call because Dad's wallet was missing. The doctors say he'll be okay, though. What was really funny about the whole thing was that when we got there, quite a while later, the cow was still there. And with all the excitement with the ambulance and everything, the cow took off running, stepped on my dad's stomach, and got hit by the police car. Dad said he never looked forward to steak so much in his life.
It's kind of funny that I ever ended up being the model. My sisters could both sing and dance. Even when I was little, it always seemed that they were always the main attraction. But I found a way to steal the show from them. I'd just hold my breath while they were singing and showing off. Pretty soon I'd turn blue and then pass out. We had hardwood floors, and when my head hit the floor, it was loud. Finally, they took me to a doctor who told them just to ignore me. Then, when the headaches started, I quit.
I'm Natalie's sister, Hester. She didn't want me interviewed, did she? Well, she never wanted me in the limelight anyway. I'm a beautician, you know. I could have helped her. She wants to be a model. Well, I could have given her the kind of glamorous coiffure she could have been to a movie star like Chignon, French Twist, Gibson Girl. You name it, honey, I can do it. But no. Natalie and I haven't gotten along since we've been kids. Ever since Penny, that's our other sister, and I would get all the attention. Natalie would hold her breath until she would pass out. And when she would bump her fat head on the hardwood floor, our mother swore they dropped the bomb. Now, I bet she didn't tell you that, did she? Oh, the last time I saw her, I called her the B word, told her to go to blazes. Pardon my French. I don't care, really, I don't. It's her loss anyway. I'm a screenwriter, you know. But none have been made into movies, but this next one will. It's a sequel to Carrie, see? She's still alive. It wasn't just a dream. In this one, she's a little older now, and she becomes the creator and the spokeswoman for, get this, Rely tampons. She said, I sent it to Cher, her agent sent it back, but I think I'm going to send it to Susan Anton. Maybe even Charles. Yeah.
My favorite relative, the one that I look up to the most, is my grandma. She's around 70 years old, and she lives in Florida. Every morning she gets up and goes and sits out on the front porch and starts drinking beer. I mean, this is really early in the morning. Well, as she drinks her beer, she stacks the cans, and when the cans fall, she knows it's time for bed. I was in Florida visiting my grandma when I got hit by the car. This guy pulls up alongside me. I was on my bike, and he starts flirting and showing off, you know, trying to pick me up by showing me how fast and cool his car was. When he asked me if I want to see him peel out, I said, yeah, peel out and keep going. But I guess he didn't hear the keep going. Anyway, the next thing I know, he pulls around the corner and is sitting down the street, and he peels out and slides right into me. I fly off my bike and go head first in the open window of a parked car. I was okay, though. I didn't even bump my head. The guy, he got scared and drove off. What a punk.
I have been photographing Natalie for God knows how long. I first met her, well, I first saw her at one of those little, shopping mall fashion shows. And the reason I remember it rather vividly is because they had, you know that song, they played that song, Welcome Pretty Ladies, Welcome Pretty Ladies. It's from some old Bob Hope, Phyllis Diller movie. And it's not that the song is memorable, but they must have had some difficulty with their audio because the song played over and over and over again throughout the entire show, about 9 or 10 times.
Oh, yeah. I remember the first time I met Giuseppe. Boy, do I ever. I was doing this mediocre fashion show at a mall where they play music and you model all the clothes from all the stores where people sit around and wait for their food to digest. I don't remember the music, what I wore, anything. Just that I was really nervous. Really, really nervous. Anyway, a bunch of us, the models, went out for a few hundred drinks afterwards, and this guy, Giuseppe, came up to me and said he'd seen me in the show. Then he said I looked exactly like Susan Anton. Well, being the innocent that I was then, 2 questions immediately popped into my head. 1, is this guy trying to pick me up? And 2, who in the hell is Susan Anton? Giuseppe gave me his card, told me he was a photographer, and asked me if I wanted to come up to his apartment and check out his zoom lens. I said I had a previous engagement.
I never said Susan Anton.
Anyway, what happened was, I didn't call Giuseppe right away. You never know about people, and especially when they tell you that they're photographers. But I did remember that he told me I looked like Susan Anton. A few weeks later, a friend and I were looking through a showbiz magazine, and there was an open call for an understudy for Susan Anton in a movie. Well, I figured if a total stranger could come up to me because I looked like her, I had it made. Needless to say, I was pretty embarrassed about the whole thing. Actually, I think I'd like to forget the whole incident. One good thing came out of it, though. I called up Giuseppe to discuss what had happened. And he gave me a small part in a movie, became my photographer, and we've been close friends ever since.
I never said Susan Anton.
When they brought Nellie to me, she was a total hick, a hayseed. Her favorite fruit was maraschino cherries. I was assigned to find out what would work for her. You know, hair care, posture, skin care. I was ready to turn in my resignation.
You can imagine how stupid I felt when they first took me to Rita Books for her to mold me into a better model. And she took one look at me and threatened to quit. I was near tears. Until Giuseppe pulled me aside and said she pulls this routine on all the models.
Posture was easy. Easier than I had expected, at least. Our first big problem came with diet. You see, I have my girls eat lots of liver. And Natalie had this thing about liver. I prefer to call it fetish, but of course, she preferred that I didn't.
God, Rita was furious when I wouldn't eat liver. I explained over and over again to her the reasons why. When I was a little girl, I liked liver a lot. One night, when we were having liver for dinner, my parents told me that my grandpa just died. Ever since then, I just couldn't eat it. It kind of made me sick, you know what I mean? I know she still doesn't understand, though.
The girl has large pores that are, for some reason, impossible to conceal, even cosmetically. That's why I'm teaching her to use her mental powers to channel her energies on the camera, thus making her pores appear much smaller through telepathy. The girl is having the damnedest time with it, though. I just don't understand why.
Being a Shriner, I never thought I'd meet many models. I met Natalie at a convention in Kansas City, and we've been seeing each other ever since then. I kept asking her, what's a nice girl like you doing in a place like Kansas City? And she said, looking for a nice guy like me. She was so wonderful that I didn't even mind giving her the $50 to help her advance her modeling career. She really earned it anyway. I mean, keeping me company. Surely she must have had more important things to do than be with me. She's really wonderful.
I met Ben when Giuseppe took a few of us girls with him to Kansas City for a fundraiser for something. Ben's so different from all the other men that I've met in the business. He's calm, quiet, easy to be with. All the talented men are so neurotic and driven that they're impossible. Ben's different.
Why does Giuseppe waste so much time on Natalie? I don't know. Yes, I do know why. Because he sleeps with her. That's why. I certainly don't know any other reason.
Ridiculous. That is absurd. If I photographed every woman that I've ever slept with, there'd be some pretty ugly models. Wait a minute.
Once Giuseppe met Roxanne, he and I broke off our romantic relationship. I haven't seen him that way since then. Over 2 years ago. We're really just friends now.
Natalie is a saint, untouched, unspoiled by human hands. So help me, if I found out that she had ever been with anybody else, I'd beat her to a bloody pulp. I mean, after all, I love her.
Natalie and I are just friends, contrary to popular belief. Strange as it may seem, I'm still faithful to my wife, Roxanne, even though we've been separated for about a year now.
Giuseppe and I have been separated for 2 months now, over which time I've been undergoing massive treatments from my doctor. You see, Giuseppe and I didn't separate because of marital problems. It was purely medical. You might even say we got along too well. Our relationship was rather intense, which would normally be fine. But I have a nervous disorder combined with a peptic ulcer. Sometimes we get to laughing really hard about something. And then, before you know it, I'd be choking. And then I'd spit up blood. It never failed. There I'd be, having the time of my life. Even at the movies or a party or wherever. I'd get to laughing, and I'd spit right up. Damn it!
When Roxanne and I were dating, sometimes I'd go over to her house, you know, like just to watch TV or to talk. And pretty soon we get to laughing and having a good time, and she'd spit blood. She'd spit it up, and her mother would say, time for me to go. You know, first time she'd spit up blood, I'd be right out the door. And then, you know, when I'd take her out, like we'd go out to eat or to the movies or, you know, usually we'd wait until the second or third time before I'd finally take her home.
When we do talk, it's usually only on the phone and then briefly. But I know he's faithful to me. When the song Roxanne by the Police got popular, he sent me the 45. Why? I don't know. I mean, the woman in the song is a prostitute. I'm sure he didn't mean it that way, though.
I first met Roxanne on the set of a small independent film. She was starring in it, and I had a supporting part. And I got Natalie a bit part, playing a model, as a matter of fact.
I was starring in this low-budget, but well-written little film called Jet Set, and Giuseppe came up to me one day on the set and said I looked just like Susan Anton. Well, at the time I just laughed. I hear that quite often, you know, but actually I'm a lot shorter. From just about that moment on, we were inseparable. Natalie? Oh yes, she was in the film too. She had a bit part, but she wasn't very good.
When Giuseppe got me the part in Jet Set, I thought things were really gonna start happening. After all, it was a part in a real movie. But nothing ever really became of it. It was never widely released. I guess it's because it was such an artsy little film.
Really, the first time we ever got into it, I was doing this charity thing. It was called Manicures for the Needy. Well, anyway, Natalie was still living at home at the time, and at that time she wanted to be a model and an actress. So anyway, I came home that night. I was a little tired. I was a little crabby. I go up to my room, and there is makeup all over the place. Honest to God, dresser, bed, cuddly duddly, Jesus. And I hear this, I love you, Lance. And it's coming out of my closet. God, I slammed open the door, expecting to find an orgy, and there's Natalie with my makeup on her face, putting a 90th lip print on my wall. I mean, I was so mad. She's got her own closet, you know? So I grabbed her out of there. I went to kick her. I kicked. She jumps out of the way. And I throw my leg out. I'm in bed for a week.
When I first moved away from my parents' home, I was so lonely. I didn't know anyone. I don't like going to bars and that kind of stuff. So what I used to do for entertainment would be to look through the papers and find the local shopping centers that were having Pepsi challenges. And then I'd go to them all, over and over. And I'd always pick Pepsi. But they never put me on TV.
Mommy, I swallowed my toothbrush. Can I have another fork, please? Mommy, my pigtails are too tight. Bus driver, open the door.
You know, I didn't start out wanting to be a model. For the longest time, I wanted to be a nun. Until I found out that you couldn't wear bathing suits.
Out of all the models to be that Giuseppe had sent me, Iris Clacker was the one that really made it big. I remember they were living together at the time. This was before Roxanne and Natalie. But anyway, he had sent her to me on a whim. That girl had real class. That's why I was so surprised when I found out that he had met her by seeing her number on a bathroom wall and calling it.
It all seems so long ago. When I look back on it now, it seems like my relationship with Giuseppe was centered around fighting. We were both pretty strong-willed then. That was before I made it big with the glow-in-the-dark bra commercials. Oh, God, we used to kick, bite, slap, punch, throw things, pull hair, scratch, bite.
Fight. They were constantly cut and bruised. Iris even came to class one day with a lock of his hair in her hand and a black eye. Anybody who lived near them or knew them knew about their fighting. I even have a great idea for a novel based on their relationship. Tooth and Nails, a love story. Knockdown, drag-out passion. Pretty good stuff, isn't it? I've even got an idea for ad slogan. Well, you know, since she was a model and all. She was dressed to kill, and he was suicidal. Pretty good stuff, for sure. But too bad I don't know how to write the book itself.
Broken windows, broken furniture, fires, holes in the wall, kicked in TVs, thrown appliances. It was kind of sexy, though. Actually, if it weren't for me, he would have never met Natalie. We had gotten in a really big fight that day, and he went out and picked up Natalie just to make me jealous. He acted like it was purely professional. Him as photographer, her as model. I was still pretty upset, though. This was right after I had been offered the glow-in-the-dark bra commercials, and I was still pretty cocky. When he brought her home to meet me, I was still pretty upset. It's a lucky thing Giuseppe's got fast reflexes, because I know he didn't expect me to throw that end table at him. It winged Natalie in the head, though. I guess that got us off to a bad start.
Iris and I never knew each other very well. All I remember is that she was kind of temperamental.
I'm not really bitter now, and I'm sure, deep down, neither is Giuseppe. How could we be? We loved each other once, and I've got the bruises to prove it.
The times I feel most like a woman is when Giuseppe whips me like a common beast.
After meeting Natalie's best friends, I really believe you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. I met Natalie's best friend, Tom DeLeo, when Nat and I double dated with her and this guy named Nathan. We went to see a movie, The Big Birdcage or something, I think. It was about women in prison, and all through the movie, Tom DeLeo kept going, "So true," or "That's the way it is." Afterward, driving home in the car, Tom DeLeo asked us what we thought about the movie, and I said, I thought it was nothing more than a cheap porno flick. Well, Tom DeLeo gets me in a half Nelson while I'm driving. And she forces me to pull over. And we get out of the car, and she gives me a bloody lip. The whole time, this guy Nathan is going on and on about UFOs. Well, I really thought that I was going to hate this woman's guts for the rest of my life. But somehow, things have cleared up. And every now and then, Tom DeLeo and I will get together and have a few beers, maybe a little arm wrestling.
I killed a man once. In self-defense.
The same is true about Giuseppe and Roxanne. When I first met them, they seemed like the kind of couple out of Cosmopolitan or one of those other glossy magazines. Then later, they seemed more like the kind of couple that write into Forum. Catch my drift? At first, it seemed like he just sat there and stared at us. I mean, he stared at us for the longest time, until it seemed like he could just stare right through us, clear through our heads into the wall behind us. But then later they loosened up, and they turned out to be pretty funny, a regular couple of chameleons. He told this joke about a bouffant hairdo or something, and she started laughing. And then she started laughing so hard that she started to choke, and then she started to spit up blood. God, it was putrid. I mean, it's like an alien, where the alien kind of popped out of that guy's chest. Then they left to go straight home, or at least I thought they were going straight home. Later, Natalie told me that they stopped off and broke into a nearby hardware store where they, well, you know. That's kind of abnormal, isn't it? Afterwards, I got to talk to Giuseppe, and he seemed like an okay guy. I mean, we share a lot of the same concepts, especially about Tupperware.
Sure, we were kind of into all those sex games. S&M, bondage, Dutch rubs, titty twisters, Indian burns. We didn't want to get stuck into a routine. We didn't want to tie each other down.
We just wanted to tie each other up.
Boy, have I got stories about the pen. One day, Nate and I were in this prison yard relay race, and this big moose, we called her GANF, get a new fence. You know, what time is it when an elephant sits on your fence? Time to get a new fence. I think her name was Misty. Anyway.
God, you are really milking your sordid past for all it's worth. Natalie and Tandaleo, a couple of ex-cons. Why don't you tell me a new one that I haven't already heard?
Pimp!
Slut?
Don't you always like Natalie more than you liked me?
Why don't you get a hold of yourself?
I think I love you.
This is how you do it. Tightrope. Can you see it? Okay. Jump rope. Loop to loop. Whoa! Really stretched out. And then after that, cats in the cradle, or whatever that's called. Gee, we ought to get it all soft up again. This is a cowboy one. Lasso! Okay. This isn't really good gum. You gotta get that bubble gum kind. Okay. Wear rings on every finger. Doesn't stay too long. It's, well, no, it stays forever if you let it dry on. Let's see. That's all I can think of.
To kind of wrap things up, the filmmakers thought that it might be interesting if we did a photo session to see how we all work. I agree. I feel like I'm at my best while I'm modeling.
That's because you got your mouth shut and you've got makeup on.
Everyone has that one element, that one special place where they feel the most comfortable and confident. I feel like mine is in front of a camera. Anyway, we're going to be doing some shots here on a studio set, and then on location on some city streets.
I changed my mind. We're not going to do any location shots. We're just going to be here in the studio.
Just a second. What do you mean we're not going to do any location shots?
Hey, I just don't want to go on location. It's just a big hassle. People follow you around, you know? I mean, it's like, my God, you know?
Sometimes I think I'll go mad.
you're gone, since you're gone, I took the big vacation. Since you're gone, well, never feel sedate. Since you're gone, well, moonlight ain't since you're gone. Since you're gone, since you're gone, well, I've thrown it all away. Well, the night since you're gone, strange. I've thrown it all away. Well, since you're gone, since you're gone, since you're gone, I've thrown it all away.
Natalie's not ever going to get anywhere until she makes some definite decisions on where she wants to go and how she's going to go about getting there. Now, maybe I'm too far removed from her situation to make any value judgments, but she seems like a pretty mixed up girl to me.
Okay, everything you say is true, Roxy. But look at everybody who wants to be somebody. I mean, where are they? Where does anybody start?
Okay, maybe you're right. All I'm trying to say is that not everybody can be a somebody.
Don't be ridiculous. Everybody's somebody. Don't you mean some nobody can't just be a somebody?
Right. Not just some nobody can't be a somebody. Not everybody can be a somebody, but everybody is a nobody.
Nobody is a nobody. Not everybody's somebody, but not everybody's nobody.
Why do you always have to make something out of nothing?
What can I say? I could have helped her make it a little sooner, maybe open a few doors for her, give her a little push, but that girl is determined to make it completely on her own. No help whatsoever. I mean, if she could photograph herself, she'd do it. She doesn't even have a car, for God's sake. How she's supposed to make the rounds is way beyond me. She's got talent, she's got looks, she's got real presence, she's got style, she's got no brains whatsoever.
Natalie is so beautiful and intelligent. I'm sure she could get whatever she wants. Here, look at this. In Florida, the Tupperware company has built a whole building of Tupperware bowls. They're pink, but strong. Just think of what that stands for. You get what you strive for. Someday, entire cities will be built of Tupperware. I'm proud to say that I'm a Tupperware dealer. Listen, that's nothing to be ashamed of. Tupperware really is a man's business. I know a good thing when I see one.
It went pretty good today, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Did you get a lot of shots for my left side? You know it's my best. I think I project so much better from my left. Why is that? I wonder if it's like that with every model. Giuseppe, what do you think?
I think I'd really rather not discuss it now, Nat. I really don't have the time.
What's the big rush?
I've got to get over to the camera shop.
The camera shop? Why now?
Because, Nat, because it's my job. My real job. And I could spend all day, every day, taking your picture, and that would be just terrific. But then I wouldn't be making a living, would I? I'd just be making a lot of bills, which me and my wife, the actress, whose real job is tearing tickets down at the local cinema, could never afford.
We're pretty hostile today.
Hostile? You know, I call it realistic. And maybe if you just take a look around your one-bedroom apartment and think about where you'd be if your parents didn't send that check every week, you'd be a little hostile too. You're a weekend model, Nat. Why don't you just face it? Just like I'm a weekend photographer. It's the only difference is I've got a job during the week. God, you know, we're a couple of nothings. I mean, maybe we're talented, but we don't have the drive or the ambition or the skill or the breaks or whatever it takes. God, maybe in a few years, but I don't know. I'm sorry, Nat. Come back. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it.
No, you're right. Everything that you said is true.
No, well, it's not. Well, it is, but it's not.
What do you mean?
I still think you're talented. And who knows, maybe someday, you know.
Natalie, oh, excuse me, who are those two guys I saw you talking to out there? Have you slept with them?
I don't remember. Why don't you ask them, okay?
Listen, I'm sick of talking about Natalie. Let's talk about me for a change.
Yeah, well, I'm just glad this whole thing's over with. I feel like I've been talking about her behind her back. Only to a couple of thousand people. Sorry, Nat. You know, my friend Nathan told me that the Virgin Mary could have been artificially inseminated by creatures from another planet. I wonder what planet they could have come from. What's the name of the one that's closest to the sun? Nah.
She's insane, I swear it.
Okay, so I've never had a picture published, and I've never had a professional modeling job. But I will. I'm gonna make it. Modeling is what I know how to do, what I do best.
How you gonna make your way in the world, woman, when you weren't cut out for working? When your fingers are slender and frail? How you gonna get around in this sleazy bedroom town if you don't put yourself up for sale? Where will you go with your scarves and your miracles? Who's gonna know who you are? Drugs and wine and flattering light, you must try it again till you get it right. Baby, you'll end up with someone different every night. All these people with no home to go home to, they all like to spend the night with you. Maybe I would too. But tell me how you're gonna make your way in the world, woman, when you weren't cut out for working, and you just can't concentrate, and you always show up late. You said you were an actress, yes, I believe you are. I thought you'd be a star, so I drank up all the money. Yes, I drank up all the money with these phonies in this Hollywood bar. These friends of mine in this Hollywood bar. Loneliness and frustration, we both came down with an acute case. When the lights came up at 2, I caught a glimpse of you, and your face looked like something Death brought with him in his suitcase. Your pretty face, you look so wasted. Another pretty face, devastated. The French inhaler is stamped and mailed. So long, Norman. She said, so long, Norman.
Okay, I won't laugh when I'm doing this. Oh, God.
Huh? Okay, you're rolling. We're rolling? Yeah. It's recording right now? Okay, come on. Do it, go ahead and do it.
Okay, moo, I can't do this.